Welcome, and thank you for joining for another whiskey review. Today, we're going to take a look at the Old Fitzgerald 16-year-old Bottled in Bond. Released, Dustin, in 2020, I believe. Is when
Yep.
well, at least that's when it was bottled.
That's when the tag on it here is, and since it's bottled in bond, they have to mark all that stuff, so they tell us when it went in and when it came out.
Yeah, take a quick look at the bottle. Here you are.
Beautiful decanter bottles, and one of the most impressive corks. Not so much the topper of the cork, but the actual cork itself is a beast. As you can see,
Wow.
Mike is not a weak guy.
That was a struggle. That was a struggle.
I actually meant to give Mike a little warning here. Like, hey, buddy, just so you know.
Yeah, thanks for the heads up.
Yeah, it was on my list of things to do.
Yeah, that was a heck of a pull. So with all the bottle and bond, it's 50% ABV or 100 proof, correct, Dustin?
Yes, sir.
All right, and then you actually picked this up at the distillery, did you not?
Yeah, I went down there with Jason C. from the Mash and Drum, Scott from My Bourbon Journey, and Bobby from I Whiskey She Wines, and we did a Elijah Craig single barrel proof pick.
I always love those.
I do too.
I get those every time they come out and I can find them.
Yep.
The one I just got was actually really low ABV, but let's get back to this particular one.
Yep.
We've done, what, 2 Old Fitzgeralds now? 15 or 14, I believe?
We've just done the 15, I believe.
Oh, okay.
If we check.
I have to take a look at that 14. But yeah, usually a pretty solid offering, so excited to get into this one. This is my first time with it. Beautiful, rich caramel color.
Yep.
And again, 50% ABV.
Yeah, and I believe these red label ones are exclusive to the distillery, which is a little misleading because there's nothing truly exclusive to the distilleries.
So they don't sell them anywhere else but the distillery?
Yeah, I think there's some obscure Kentucky laws where they have to, in order to sell them at the distillery, they still have to give a very small portion out to the state of Kentucky. But I don't believe these leave Kentucky. Whereas the 15-year was a green label, those do. Could be wrong, but that's what I understand.
I'll tell you what, it smells great.
It smells beautiful, man.
I mean, this is sweet, candied caramel.
Oh, yeah. A little bit of nuttiness, a little bit of oak. And it's like a really nice nuttiness. Like it's inviting. I mean, it's like Reese's peanut butter almost. I mean, it's sweet peanut butter.
Yeah, peanut butter is a good descriptor. Like creamy peanut butter, not the nutty kind.
No, but I mean, I'm thinking again like a Reese's, where it's a little bit like almost sugary.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, no, it's
Yeah.
incredibly sweet. Even for a bourbon, it's sweet.
Yeah, there's a vanilla here, but it's not just you're like, oh yeah, it's bourbon, I get vanilla, but I mean like a rich, concentrated vanilla extract.
I mean, just like the candy caramel note. You say those things in more than one.
You
bourbon.
say them all the time, but this is an exceptional version of it on the
very,
nose.
This is very rich.
Yeah, I mean this nose right now, like this is getting up there with some of the better bourbons. And if you're somebody who likes that Heaven Hill Jim Beam mash bill, where they tend to get, well, I think it's the mash bill, it's actually the Rick Houses, they tend to get a little bit nutty. This is not over the top if you're somebody who doesn't want to feel like they're drinking peanut butter. I don't think, on the nose at least, I don't think you're there.
I mean, I don't think it's overly nutty.
No.
I mean, I've had scotches that were more forward in that as far as that goes. I mean, I think it's a nice compliment.
Yeah, there you go, compliment. That's a perfect word. It complements that sweetness perfectly, gives it balance.
Yeah, it almost gives it a more drying feel on the nose.
All right.
Yeah, but overall, I mean, it's a super nice bourbon. It almost noses like it would be cask strength. I know 50%. They probably watered it down to some degree, but this feels on the nose at least that it's probably 55, 60% ABV.
Yeah.
What are you picking on the palate?
So up front, I start to be a little disappointed with it being a hair thin, which quickly gets taken away because the finish is wow. I am literally getting oak vanilla Reese's right now. Like, if you took oak, I mean, leathers are in here, you're getting shoe polish, man.
Yeah, so you're right, the finish is the show here without question. I didn't feel like it felt thin. I thought it felt like a 50% ABV whiskey.
Yeah.
Now, again, it smelled richer on the nose. As you were tasting, I said, this smells like it could be a cask strength whiskey, much higher ABV. So you expect a little bit more of a punch.
Yeah.
But it is soft.
I was expecting a little more sweetness up front.
Sure.
On the front of the tongue, I expected to be a little sweeter.
But you're right, the show is absolutely the finish on this whiskey. It's almost like marshmallows melted on peanut brittle.
Yeah.
To some degree.
Ooh, peanut brittle's that's a good descriptor.
But again, with a marshmallow note too, like if the marshmallow was warm. I mean, man, that is really, I mean, of course there's caramel, that candy caramel is in there, but really kind of what I was focusing on the finish was that peanut brittle marshmallow note. And I'll tell you what, it is sweet and candied. It almost makes you feel like you're at the fair.
Yeah, there's a little bit of a darkness. I'm trying to kind of delve into where the darkness is. Maybe the water will help me figure it out. And it's a nice balance. It's part of that nutty flavor, the nutty oak. There's a darkness. And again, it's a Heaven Hill, very traditional Heaven Hill profile here, but this one's amped up a little bit stronger than anything but an ECBP that I can think of off the top of my head.
You know, as this finish kind of settles in, I'm getting more chocolate now. Kind of a nice milk chocolate sort of settles in, like right at the end. I mean, it's a good linger too.
I was almost thinking like a chocolate covered maybe butterscotch kind of thing going on there.
I mean, like that peanut brittle, peanut butter sort of notes, like just there all the time, like throughout the entire experience.
Getting something that's different than chocolate, different than peanuts. There's something in between there that's coming in.
But you're right, there is a dark note that I'm not quite pinpointing.
All right, the nose brought out a little more of the nutty, a little more of like the chocolate, a little more of the oak. Pushed the sweetness back a little bit.
I mean, maybe getting even a little bit of a dark berry.
Mm-hmm. I'm getting a little bit of like a cleaner on the very, very end. Really like refreshing, like kind of like you're happy, like your sheets smell like it kind of a thing. Just a slight bit of a
fresh linen note almost.
Yeah. It's really nice. I think that's really making it inviting.
It was already a solid nose. It was already a high 80 nose for any whiskey, in my opinion. Putting water in it brought up again some of the woodier notes. It's like chocolate, oak. That became a little bit more to the forefront. But overall, I mean, it remained pretty consistent. I think in terms of volume, slightly maybe unlocked a few things. A little bit of that dark berry note. But overall, both ways, it's strong on the nose.
Yeah. So now with water in it, it's again same thing as the palate, or the nose, I should say. On the palate, same as the nose. We're getting that little more nuttiness, but I'm actually getting a lot more of the oak notes. I'm getting some tannins. I'm getting much more complexity. The water didn't thin it out too much. It brought it down. You notice it, but it's not offensive. If you're somebody who drinks with a couple drops of water, I think this will hold up pretty well to it. Man, it's a complicated beast. I've had this a couple times, and every time it's a challenge really to dissect this particular bottle.
Of the three Old Fitzgeralds I've had, this is leaning towards being the most impressed I've been with them for sure. Yeah, even with water, the arrival's pretty much consistent, but it is so rich and full on the finish. That is really, again, where the beauty of this whiskey is on the finish, which is rare. Rare that you rank the finish the best thing, and then maybe the nose and the taste in that strange of an order. But I mean, on the finish again, just that peanut brittle. Peanut brittle, marshmallow, and a little bit of dark chocolate.
Yeah.
I mean, it just, maybe even a graham cracker.
There might be a white chocolate I'm getting now. It's nice. And you know what?
Like that oak note comes in too, right at the
We
end.
always talk about this. Macallan years ago famously had their slogan, age matters. Well, bourbon guys, age matters. And when you're talking finish, you get some really exceptional bourbons around that 12-year mark.
I agree.
But when you get into like the 15-plus-year-old bourbons, some of them are over oaked and they're not good. But when you find a gem like this,
this is not over.
This adds a depth, a layer of complexity, a finish. It's great.
Yeah, this really has enough facets to it that to even impress someone who primarily drinks scotches and looks for these type of things.
Yeah.
These many flavors, these many transitions. I mean, really, it's a
This is
not
extremely
solid.
This is not a two-flavor whiskey. This isn't.
Not at all.
Oh yeah, it's vanilla and caramel, and oh yeah, I get a little bit of funk that tells me it's this distillery.
Yeah,
this has a lot of layer, a lot of depth.
And really, the oak really complements it really nice. It's
Yeah.
not over oaked, and I mean, really, it's a second or third thing I'd even notice.
Yep.
On the nose, so that tells you how non-prominent it is.
Yep.
Even at this age, I mean, dynamite effort.
Yep.
Again, probably my favorite of all
Right,
three
Mike.
I've tried.
Where you at score-wise?
I mean, it's a really good whiskey. What'd you pay for this, if you don't mind me asking?
These run about $230, $240. You do pay a premium to buy stuff at the distilleries usually these days. So had this been on the regular market, probably would have been $200. But again, pretty much only can get it there.
Yeah, that's probably where I put the value on it, $150, $200 roughly in today's market. I mean, to have a cool bottle, I mean, definitely try it.
Well, the bottle I think definitely justifies going a little over $200 if you're already thinking $200 whiskey.
I mean, if you're like Highland Park, how could you say that isn't an accurate statement?
As we keep buying those crazy bottles.
Yes. Okay. So I've been kicking this around, so I'm trying to get a good score. So I'd rate the nose high 80s, the finish probably a 90 or a 91. But the palate initially, you're right. There was something unimpressive compared to the other two. So that would put me probably about an 87 out of 100, which is strong for a bourbon in my opinion.
Yeah, it's high score for you. I'm gonna go a little higher. I do think this is gonna earn an 89 for me. And I do put the value of this right around that $250 price point, which has a really low 89, close to an 88. So I kind of went waffled a bit. But at the end of the day, it's still hard to find bourbons at this quality level.
I agree.
That I think I'm kind of maybe giving it a little quarter point boost just to say, hey, you know what? It's so hard to find something this good. And some of these hyped up bourbon bottles are just not this good.
Oh, I agree.
This is actually
there's a lot of
legitimately
bourbon
great.
disappointments that I've had. This is a good whiskey that I would want to drink on a given night.
Yeah.
You know, oftentimes we have the conversation, you know, I got all these bottles of whiskey, when we're ever going to go to something that's kind of average. The answer is you usually don't. And they sit there forever. This is a bottle that even if I had, you know, hundreds of bottles,
Yeah.
I would make time for this.
Yeah. Yeah, when you know me, like if I'm drinking average, it's probably a Springbank.
Right.
If you're drinking average, it's probably going to be maybe a Diageo special release you picked up and you just wanted to kind of go back there.
But that tells you what I think of this whiskey.
Yeah.
I mean, so.
But this bourbon
is still a good
This is the bourbon I'm gonna finish this bottle. I'm probably gonna get to half point weight and I'm gonna be like, okay, I'm gonna hold off on drinking this because I don't want to finish it.
You couldn't buy two?
No, in fact, we were lucky to even get the one because they weren't actually selling these that day at the store. Or if they did, they sold them. 10 bottles, first 10 people in got them. But because we did a pick, they gave us kind of, all right, here's the full list of what we can offer you today. But thankfully, we did get offered this bottle, and we're very appreciative of it. And all four of us bought one.
Yeah, beautiful decanter. I love the thick glass on the bottom. And again, 87 for me is a good whiskey score.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a dynamite one. So anyway, that's where we're at as far as the whiskey score. Let us know what you guys think. If you guys can get your hands on this particular bottle, I know it just came out last year in 2020, but where there's a will, there's a way.
Absolutely.
And until next time, Dustin, we'll wish the folks
Happy drinking.
We'll see you then.